Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, greetings, salutation, one and all. Yep, it's another week. We've made it through another one successfully. Mostly. Managed not to freeze to death. It's not been that cold, but considering we've had a very mild autumn right up until this week, yeah, the sudden cold and freezing conditions came as a bit of a shock. So Sammy is DPing, which means dog parking. Out walking the woofer. How you doing, bud? That makes such a weird noise on that table with all that stuff on it. Oh dear. Have you ever heard of Japanese walking? I mean, I've heard of the song Turning Japanese by the Vapors. I don't know if they're somehow conjoined. About to go on a jog. So Japanese walking is just walking but faster. Or as us Europeans call it, walking. Yeah. Mind you, I say that, I know plenty of people that just walk really slowly. It's always a nightmare being out in public with them. And I don't mean Mary, because she's got a legitimate excuse to be a slow walker. Every 3 minutes, just walk as fast as you can, full stop. Rather than every 3 minutes. I never understood all these weird exercises and timings, and just walk faster all the time and you get more benefit. There's that people, yeah. I'm one of those people that thinks there should be lanes on pavements or sidewalks, as you call them. Should be a slow lane and a fast lane divided by a white line, providing the pavement's wide enough, obviously. There should be no stopping zones outside of shops. Now, anyone who stops in a shop doorway and just stands there chatting, they should get a ticket. And people who dawdle in the fast lane, well, they should get a ticket as well. Yeah. That's my view on it, and that's just generally because I get annoyed. If I'm out and about walking somewhere, I'm walking somewhere. I want to be there. But anywho, so what have I been up to this week? So other than trying to stay warm, not a huge amount. As I said, we've had ice, snow, black ice. That was fun. by the time I've been leaving off work, everything's been frozen solid. So it's been some interesting cycle rides. Just let a little bit of pressure out the tyres and job done. Don't death grip the bars. Don't use the front brake. Oh, pardon me. And things have been windy as well. So what else have I been up to? Yeah, not a lot really. So, not really done much on the paint by numbers, but that's because it's been very cold up here. And paint was just taking forever to dry, so I have a new oil-filled radiator in here because I can't put the heating on in this room because it's a storage heater and it's sitting behind a metal storage unit that has lots of very melty or flammable stuff on it. Plus they're 1980s storage heaters, so they're really not efficient in terms of energy. Whereas my new little oil-filled electric radiator, it does the job, keeps the chill off. And typically I actually turn the heating on by a little rad and then it gets warmer again. So, this is the way of it. You put up with it for a few days and then you give in and then the weather changes. Which is basic UK, I guess. Although we should expect it to be cold this time of year because it is winter. Well, it still comes as a surprise to people. What do you mean we've had a winter storm and now a cold spell? Why? Why can't it be sunny and warm like it is in summer all year round? Oh, that's because we don't live on the equator. I know, bizarre. Every 3 minutes is intense. Just walk fast all the time. I once worked with someone who used to do lots of walking. They'd do their daily walk. And they were complaining that they weren't losing any weight and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, your body is used to doing that now. If you want to lose more weight or get fitter, you either got to go further or faster. It didn't go down very well. Why am I putting 7s where the J's should be? That's what happens when you don't pay attention. And you grab your tweezle twazzles. As I was talking, I picked up the wrong bag of drills. That was okay, it's only got to move one. So yes, if you make a mistake with your diamond painting, providing you catch it soon enough, you can just pop the drills straight back off. Well, I wouldn't suggest trying to use the tweezers that come with some of the kits for it. They're not the best. They tend to be made out of very thin, very cheap metal or plastic. Whereas these are stainless steel. Oh, yeah. Basically, they're surgical ones. You do pay more for a good pair of tweezers, but if you use them a lot, it's well worth it. And despite the fact that I have managed to bend these, they are needle nosed. Three minutes of recovery that make it better. Yeah, once you've finished your walk, you've got all the recovery time you want. We just stop and have a drink break or a smoke break or what have you, rather than just carrying on. Or is that just me? Yeah. The fitness nut cyclists can't understand that it's okay to stop and take in the scenery every now and then. You know, but the numbers, what about your times and your numbers? I don't care. They don't matter. They're not important. The important thing is I got some exercise. I feel better for it. And I've had a life improving experience, he says. Yeah. Been somewhere, seen something, done something. The exercise is not the be all and end all for me. It's something you do to get to something you want to do. Kind of like going to work. None of us really want to do it. But it's really difficult to do the other stuff we want to do if we don't. Yeah, it's just it's just one of them things. Ow. Ooh. Ow. No wonder that itched. Serious dry skin. Again, that'll be the cold. But then, typical of the UK, yes, it's been cold, sub-zero, freezing, nasty, but it's still been really humid. We're looking at like 78% humidity. Well, I think the lowest it got during the week was about 65% humidity, but it was sub-zero weather. Thankfully, we didn't get any freezing fog, which is always a nightmare. Mikey, rough start, awake now, only till noon. I have days where I might be up and about, but I'm not necessarily awake. This is why I don't do mornings at work. The times I have done, the shift usually goes really fast. Mostly because I'm generally asleep, I think. But my brain might be awake, but my body isn't. One or the other, or my body's awake, but my brain isn't. And thankfully, my job doesn't take too much brain power. So I could probably do it mostly in my sleep. It was foggy this morning. Yeah, I was like, fog is one thing, but freezing fog is, yeah, that's different. It just looks foggy, except as soon as the fog hits anything, it freezes. So in my case, we cycling along, and a short while later, I can't see anything out of my glasses because they're covered in a sheet of ice, as is my clothing and my bike and me. And you're basically breathing in ice particles. It's not a pleasant experience. 1 out of 10 would not recommend. Well, I'd recommend everyone experiences it once or twice. Overcast and 60, really nice. So it's been around about 60 degrees indoors most of this week. A good chunk of the rest of it outside, so it's below freezing. So I think other than today, the warmest it got here all week was 4 degrees C. Which I don't know what that is in F. So when you've gone from it being 60-ish or 60 odd outside air temperature, and then it suddenly drops, over the course of a day, it drops nearly 20 degrees. It's like 20 degrees C, that is. Yeah, it comes as a bit of a shock to the system. Even I put long trousers on. Well, generally just for walking the doggo, but wow. I would like that. The wife can't handle 82. Oh, geez, that's like summer. I hate to think what your heating bill's like. Jeez. That's that's keeping a house at a discus tank temperature. That's what that is. Which, okay, it might be warmer where you are generally, but yeah, no thank you. If it was 84, I would have the doors and windows open, trying to cool the house down. I'd be grumbling about going live because I had to put some clothes on. Whereas, yeah, most of this week I've been sat here in a hoodie, tracksuit bottoms or joggers, with the hoodie hood up. At least one day I had a blanket as well. Yeah, it's not been pleasant weather. But it's changed again now. We're back to moist. Space heater for the observatory, small office room. As I was saying earlier, I just got a little oil-filled radiator for in here. A little 500-watt one. It's doing a good job. I've got it on about half power, so it costs about 8p an hour to run if it was running permanently, but it switches on and off. It's probably about 4 or 5p an hour to run, and it's keeping the temperature up here sensible. Like I can be in a t-shirt and not be shivering, sensible. Not even 10 degrees. Absent-mindedly you figured it out eventually. You got your days mixed up, did you, Mikey? Yeah, we all do it some days. Happens fairly regularly in retail. The shift patterns aren't necessarily the same every week. Well, they're usually not the same every week. So you get kind of confused as to what day it actually is sometimes. You sort of have to sit and think about it for a while. Worse things have happened. And yes, you may have noticed I've censored the picture again. It's not nudity, but we know what YouTube and people are like. So some heavily pixelated cleavage would probably offend some people. So I say keep it covered to try and be family friendly, but this is me. I don't think I've ever been family friendly. I've certainly never really been friendly with my family, so So yeah, what else has happened this week? What else can I waffle on about? Yeah, no dramas at work, which is always good. No dramas at home either. I've got majority of Mary's birthday gifts wrapped. I think I've got all of her Christmas presents. There's just things like flowers and a cake that I'll have to get like the day before for her birthday, but that's about it. And that's come around real fast. So I was, planning things. I was like, oh yeah, I got loads of time. I got loads of time. There's no rush. Got loads of time. And then I look and I go, oh, hang on. I've got 2 weeks till her birthday, which means after that, I've basically got 2 weeks till Christmas. Oh, crud. Well, 2.5 weeks, but don't want to be rushing around last minute trying to get things done if I can help it. I know I've got the week off, but still. I'd rather have it all done, dusted, sorted, and then I can just chill, relax, maybe, enjoy my time off work. I mean, talk about getting ahead. I've already got half of next year's holiday booked already. But you know how it is. Sometimes you have to get things in early if you want them off. And I certainly want my 50th birthday week off. Definitely not going to be working that one. I'm going to be sitting at home and weeping gently, I think. Because I think once you hit 50 is when the old person sort of adverts and things start coming through the door, and you start getting people coming around asking if you want a stair lift, or if you want to go on a cruise with a bunch of old people. No, I'd rather go on a cruise with a bunch of younger people. Younger people, preferably female, that don't like to wear too much. No offence, but I'd rather not be around grannies in bathing suits. There's that. I did that snafu earlier. I've still got a couple more of them to do. What am I like? Never mind. It's diamond painting, so it's easily fixed. Bloop. 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 I think that was all of them. Yep. We do the 9s first, if we can find them. I'm not saying there's a lot of colours in this one, but there's a lot of colours in this one. Easy to lose track of which baggie is where. And yes, I know an organised person would have them all in order. But I'm not organised. But I am. And I did actually do that with one recently. I can't remember which one it was. And it did help, but it was just a bit of a pain having it around. No, don't just chuck it down somewhere. Put it where it's got to go. Yeah, it's just so not me. Nope, fire in the hole. Oh, there. Oh, that was soggy. Moist. No idea why, because I've not eaten anything that would cause wind. Ah, chip shop chips and gravy. That's what I had yesterday. That'll be why I've got wind today. Hopefully it'll clear up by tomorrow, so I don't go subjecting people at work to it too much. But yeah, won't bother me. I can't smell it. It's the end of the world as we know it. Yeah, so what else we can talk about? The Epstein files were finally went through and got released as basically unanimous vote. But I've got a funny feeling that now it's probably going to get all tied down in an ongoing investigation that never gets finished, just to make sure it stays secret as long as possible. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything, which if you know me, you know I'm not, but it behooves a lot of people for them to not come out, shall we say. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the victims don't start coming forward. You're like, yeah, I don't care. I want the people who did this to get, you know, get their just desserts. Yes. Interesting times we live in at the moment. I think we're pretty much on the precipice of something really bad happening, and then yeah, let's just hope it doesn't, shall we? Let's just hope that things stay sensible. The more radical members of societies and governments don't get their way. Conspiracy side of jobs classified as professional is mostly job titles. Mandatory reporters for child abuse. License with the states. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Um, the representatives voting, what was it, 427 to 1? Um, yes, and then going up to the Senate and unanimous. You know, if you then veto that, you are basically saying, I am guilty. My name will be in there. Which I think even in his addled state, even Donald Trump kind of understood that one. Education, healthcare. Well, yeah, the the US governmental stance on healthcare and education is fairly well known and obvious, isn't it? In that they don't want the children to be educated because, well, then they might realise what they're being fed is propaganda BS. And if people are healthy, then how else is all these for-profit organisations like hospitals and doctors and drugs companies, how are they supposed to make their shareholders happy if people are no longer using their products because they're healthy? Yeah. I was watching something about the differences in food standards. And what they basically said was the rest of the world will ban something from food if there is a reasonable chance it might have a bad effect. Like bovine growth hormone or the various artificial colours and flavourings. Um, because they're not 100% sure, but they're pretty sure they cause bad things. So we ban them just because, well, it's safer to not have it in the food, especially if you don't need it. Whereas the FDA, it seems, it has to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that that thing is toxic, dangerous, before they can ban it, or before they're willing to ban it. And then they'll probably get lobbied about it because whoever sells it is making money off of it. Which over here we call that bribery, and that's highly frowned upon. It will cost you your career and see you in jail. In the US, it's called lobbying. And bribery doesn't have to be cash. It can be, a holiday, a meal, tickets to some show. Yeah, that's bribery. Um, part of my training at work. Bear in mind, I work in a shop. We had to do all the corruption and bribery training. And it's like, if an individual gives us a tip, that's okay. We still have to report it. But if a company offers us a tip, then we have to get it accepted by higher ups to prove there's no conflict of interest or bribery or anything like that going on. So we just don't bother. Oh, no, keep the change. No, I can't. Sorry, not allowed. Or it'll be a few pence, and I go, oh, keep the change. Call it a tip. Cheers, and then you put it in the charity box. And they look at you. Well, why do you do that? Because I can't be bothered going through all the grief of having to notify and fill in the form and you know. And plus, it's on camera. Yeah, good times. Yeah. The whole thing with those, let's say with the Epstein stuff, and you say all the outrage and ego stuff and all that going on. All these higher ups, none of them seem to be outraged for the victims. All seem to be outraged that the people who actually did it might get caught, might have to, suffer consequences for their actions. Yeah, I mean, I know our government isn't the greatest, and every government on the planet has its problems. Because human greed is a thing, there's nothing we can do about that. But geez, the American political system's effed up. Stuff like that. It just seems nobody is watching. There's changes in regulatory systems are being broken. Yeah. It's almost like people don't want to move forwards. It's almost like they like things the way they were, and if we move forward and improve things for the majority, which might make things slightly worse for the minority, which they happen to be a part of. Oh, no, 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 we can't have that. Oh, no, it's bad. It's socialism. Well, there is a difference between socialism and socialist, and I'll keep rattling on about that until people actually understand it. It's like the NHS, the state-funded healthcare, as it were. Free healthcare for all. And there are people who are against it. And I don't just mean like the rich people or the people who run the bloody hospitals or whatever, or the insurance companies. No, there are actual jokey public people that don't think free healthcare is a good thing. It's like they think people are going to take advantage of it. No, if you know you can go to the doctor for something small and get it sorted there and then, it's a lot cheaper than when you finally have to go because things are getting really bad. It's just a lot cheaper for everyone in the long run. Oh yeah, but you still pay for it. You just have to pay for it with your taxes. Yes, but your taxes won't go up by the same amount that you'll lose or that you'll gain by not paying insurance every month. And the more you earn, the more you pay into the system. Because the more you can afford to pay into the system. This confuses a lot of people. Why should I have to pay more? Why should I, in my $1 million mansion with my Lamborghini and my yacht and my vacation home in the Bahamas, why should I pay more than the guy working the drive-through window at McDonald's? Because you earn a lot more. Because you can afford to pay a lot more. That's why. That's basically how it works. And because of universal healthcare, which comes out of our national insurance contribution, it costs me, oh, I don't know what, 10, 15, maybe £20 a month. In the past, I have looked into private healthcare in the UK. And yeah, I don't want to be paying over £100 a month to basically just get in a bit sooner if it's a non-emergency situation. Well, let's face it, I'm only going to go to the doctors or the hospital in an emergency. Back to willful ignorance. Yep. that whole, no, I don't want to learn about this. Because if I learn about this, then it might break my entire worldview. And I think in general, the US is the best at two things that are measured. That is military spending, which tells you an awful lot, and number of people incarcerated per capita, which ironically makes it the least free country in the world. Yeah, there's probably a few others, like maybe, greenhouse gas production, leading the way in the worst renewable energy production, recycling. We're going to drill, baby, drill. No. Don't put that in the brochure. 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's prison population. Exactly. And you know why? It's not because you got stricter laws. It's because when the prisons are run for profit, in order to, because they're not state run, or government run, I should say. Using the word state could get confusing. They're private entities, so they have to make money. And in order to make money, you have to have lots of people in them. So therefore, and again, probably lobbying has got something to do with it. The people who own the prisons, or the companies that own the prisons, they want more people in jail. Right? Because then they make more money and they get richer. What do you mean you want us to actually, rehabilitate the prisoners so that they then don't reoffend because they've learnt new skills and become better people? When they come out, that's how these things work. It's one of those that's like, learn from the rest of the developed world that's been doing this for centuries. We've figured out how to do it. We will freely tell you how to do it. Don't get me wrong, this, state-run prison system, modern-day slavery, yeah. A state-run prison system still costs taxpayer dollars, or taxpayer pounds, money, whatever you want to call it. But it's going to cost less than one that's owned by a private company that is trying to make profit from it. Because the state isn't necessarily, I use the state as in the entire state, the country, isn't trying to profit from it. They just try to run it and not make a loss. So again, I'm going to use that word behooves. It behooves them to rehabilitate prisoners so they don't end up back inside, so it costs them less to run the prisons. And there's all this talk about the government or the presidential pardons, but you never see like a blanket pardon for people who have been imprisoned for dumb little things. You know, the people who did get caught with a spliff ended up locked up in jail. I mean, especially in states where it's been decriminalised. Once you decriminalise it in a state, what you've decriminalised, anyone who's in jail for should be released. Or is that just common sense? Trump thought I said release the files. Yeah, so that's probably what he'll do, isn't it? No, 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 no. They didn't do anything wrong. They're a really good person. Uh, Donald, they were caught with their hands down a 12-year-old pants. Yeah, they're a good person. No. Yeah, expunge previous convictions. Yeah, exactly. So, like, let's say Colorado, for example, where we all know that cannabis has been decriminalized or made legal. Now, obviously, people who are like dealing or whatever, fair enough, fair game. But people who have been done for possession, possession for personal use, right? Well, not only should they be released, but those convictions should be overturned and stricken from the record. They won't do that because there's money to be made from keeping them in jail. Yes. Sad state of affairs, but that's the way of the world, I'm afraid. Profit beats common sense. And we know where Gene Roddenberry got the idea for the Ferengi in Star Trek, don't we? profit at the cost of everything else. President Biff in Back to the Future is based on Donald Trump. Yep. I they just kept dialing it back a bit. They were like, no, no one's actually going to believe that. That's just not believable. Turns out truth is stranger than fiction. And truth is more like Emperor Palpatine. I'm sorry, but anyone who owns a copy of the antagonist, anyone who owns a copy of Mein Kampf who isn't a historian, maybe don't let them run for public office. I'm just saying. Especially if they've got a copy of Mein Kampf and then profess to be a Christian. This person obviously has no critical thinking skills. Especially if it's a copy that's translated into English. Oh, actually. Oh, that's probably a bit dark, isn't it? I mean, a bit. Right, this is dark even for me, but I think we might get away with it. Do you reckon that Mein Kampf is available in Yiddish? Sorry. Is there a Hebrew translation? Oh God, that's dark. How long until I get taken off the air? Ooh. And that's also the thing with the Bible. It's been translated by so many different people over the years in so many languages. And we all know even something simple when it gets translated from one language to another, things get lost in translation. And the King James Bible was translated by barely literate monks, or transliterated and copied. It was translated and then because obviously the printing press hadn't been invented yet, so it was handwritten, every copy. Imagine that's your job. You just write out the Bible every day. God. And you can't make a mistake. Ah, yeah, that's gonna suck. And you've got to do it with a quill as well. You can't even use a biro or ball pen or fountain pen. Basically using a dip pen. And yes, I know I'm sad, but basically writing out the Bible using one of those. You know, it's a modern day version, but you get the gist. But, yes, I am probably the only person any of you know who literally has a quill, well, a dip pen. And hell, I'm one of the only people I know who still has fountain pens. Let's just see if I've got a piece of decent paper. Ooh, what's that? What's that looking like? That's looking like an old high school or yeah, it's got to be a pad of paper from high school. I was going to give it a go, I reckon. Now, what colour shall I try writing in? Using a dip pen, I have. What's that? Is that violet? We've got violet, Bordeaux, turquoise. They're just the ones that are on the bench. There's a bunch of others down here somewhere. Are they in there? Is that one? No, that's all excess paints. Oh, it's going to be that one, isn't it? No. Oh, we've got 4 drawers to choose from. It can't be that bad. Yeah. Black, transparent, burnt umber. What's that one? Right. Burnt umber. I'll finish my puff, have a swig, and then we'll have a go at writing with a dip pen. No, my ciggy's gone out, but this is going to be a messy job, I reckon. So a bit of paper, dip pen. Shake up the ink. Does that post? Not a chance. Oh, and posting is what you call it when you try and put the cap on the back of the pen. Just checking I've not just covered myself in violet ink, and I haven't. It should be. There we go. Let's try writing with a dip pen. This is really not a pleasant pen to write with. It lasts quite a while. Got to admit, I'm impressed. Let's just do scribblies, shall we? And see how long it lasts. Admittedly, it is a super fine nib. It really doesn't look like it's coming down at all. Aside from the scratchiness, it's not actually too bad to write with. You know, it was like pennies on Timu. We're starting to get there now. You could definitely write several lines with one dip. And now it's out of ink. But yeah, that worked quite well. Now you get the fun part of cleaning it. Yeah, definitely a very scratchy nib, but I probably used worse when I was at high school. Some of the cheap fountain pens I used at school were horrific. They really were bad. Yeah. And obviously there's white, but white ink isn't going to show up on white paper. So yeah. One dip with an with a dip pen does that much. So yeah, it wouldn't have been too horrific having to write out the Bible with a quill. I mean, I say it wouldn't have been too horrific. It would have been horrific, but it could have been worse. Right, that's that done. Can't believe there's still 3 people here. I mean, and yes, I know my handwriting is horrific. It always has been. One of my teachers in my end of year school report, I think it was 4th year. Yeah, it must have been 4th year. said that my writing looked like a drunken spider had fallen into a pot of ink and then crawled across the page. Which I've got to admit is probably fairly accurate. Can't be mad at it. Even if I did get in a lot of trouble for it at the time. All the good stuff in the school report was forgotten about by my wondrous foster parents. Better grades than any of their kids had had, in higher sets than any of their kids were in. But they seized upon the fact that my handwriting wasn't great and I had to then do handwriting practice, which basically meant sitting there writing until they were happy with how I was writing, which just made everything take 2 or 3 times as long. Never compliment my handwriting either. No, even in the top 20 reasons I dislike authority. Yeah. But then these days, and I don't know how it is in the States, but most schoolwork in the UK is done on computer. So kids don't actually spend like their lesson just writing. They're typing. So God knows what their handwriting looks like. And I've seen adults holding a pen like that. Yeah. What? I get left-handers hold it weird because, yeah, right-handers. If you're right-handed, you hold a pen like that. I basically do the same with paintbrushes and with my diamond painting pen. I just hold this a lot further up because I'm well, reasons. It's just what feels comfortable. Plus, I'm a grown up now and no one tells me off for having bad handwriting. Although I have learnt not to use joined up or cursive writing, I believe it's called over there. Especially for anything I'm writing at work, because if you use joined up, then it seems nobody can read it anymore these days. So I tend to write in block capitals. God, this is going wonky. Close it up a bit. Yeah, it's handwriting is becoming a lost skill. And there's an entire generation now who don't know how to write a check. Admittedly, we don't use checks anymore in the UK, but still. We pay all our bills generally online now, and that's even if we pay them. Normally, it's just a direct debit, a set amount that comes out of your account on a certain date every month. And we get paid straight into our bank accounts. So basically nobody gets paid cash or by check anymore. Even if you're signing on for unemployment, it goes just straight into your bank account. And the reason we don't use things like Venmo or Cash App is because it's a lot easier for us to just send money between one account and another. All you need is the person's name, account name, and account number, and you can send them money. Well, yeah, and once you've sent them money, they can then send you money because the details are on the system. Who'd have thought it? Where'd the M go? Where'd M? E-A-S-D. There we go. Bluey white. Oh, and we don't have to do our taxes either. They automatically just get taken out of our wages as before we even get paid. So unless you're self-employed, at the end of the year, you don't have to do anything. And if you're lucky, you might get a tax rebate where His Majesty's, yeah, I remember to say His Majesty's, Revenue and Customs just send you a cheque in the post. Well, that's how it used to be. These days, it would be a direct payment straight into your bank account. And you'll get a letter saying, you overpaid by this much. Here, have the excess back. Which hasn't happened to me for a while, but I'm not mad. Yeah, so is there anything anyone wanted to yak or chat about while I'm waffling away? Anything that's got your goat that you might like to hear my viewpoints on, or questions to ask, or all that kind of stuffs. As I say, I've not really got up to much this week, so I've not got a huge amount to say. Even trying to remember what I've been watching on the tube of you, and nothing really new that sprung into mind. Mostly just true crime and paranormally history type stuff, I think. Oh, I see something coming through. And yes, from this angle I can see the screen even though it's basically behind me. Just ate lunch, did a bunch of nothing yesterday. Should really get up to something today. Not really. Um, do what your body tells you it wants to do. That's what I say. If your body says, no, I need a flumpy day, I just want to chill, kick back, then listen to it. There's far too many people don't. Actually, that is something that me and Mary have been talking about. People not being able to understand what their body is telling them because they got so used to having, an app or a Fitbit or whatever that tells them things that they've either forgotten or they haven't learned how to listen to what their body is saying. They don't know what the messages the body is giving them are. Relaxing is my superpower to be an easy win. Oh, this is me you're talking to, Mikey. When people started talking about Netflix and chill, I thought they actually meant chill. One reason I wanted to start getting back up here again. Because otherwise, I can quite easily just spend the entire day alternating between laying down and having a nap and just randomly sitting in the armchair watching stuff on YouTube and literally do nothing until I get to like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then I'm wondering why I feel weird. And it's like, oh yeah, I've not eaten anything today. I've literally just been running on the sugar and the caffeine out of the Coke and energy drinks I've been drinking. And I have the ability to do that for basically a week. But these days I do have things I have to do as well, which some days I really don't look forward to. Like 13 energy drinks, must have been having a bad reaction with no food. Yeah. Well, when you've had a couple of large cans of energy drink and then drunk probably about 2 litres of cola, but not actually eating anything, yeah, then your body starts telling you things. you go to stand up to like go to the toilet or something, and you get all wobbly, or you suddenly think, why am I feeling really hot and sweaty and unstable and weak? Oh, right, my body has run out of fuel. My blood sugar levels just dropped to the toilet. One needs more food. And then you go grab something super quick and easy to eat because, well, you probably physically can't stand there and cook a full meal. And then you repeat that the next day. Or you remember and you go and get chips, like I did yesterday. Yeah, I went to the chip shop around about 3 o'clock. Came home, ate my chips. Yeah, vacuum in the car. That's a good call. That's nice. Neat kind of thing that you need to do occasionally, but you don't really worry about too much. And then when you do it, you're like, yeah, that looks really good. I'm glad I did that. Yeah, so it's yeah. So I went to the chippy around about 3. Got my jumbo sausage and small chips, which is anything but a small chips. It's a because I'm regular. I'll go there, once a week. I've been going there for years. I get slightly, I wouldn't say special treatment, but I get more, shall we say. So there's literally like £2 of potatoes, and sometimes there'll be like 2 jumbo sausages in there, or But yeah. So I got home, put those on, put the chips and the sausage on a large dinner plate, which only just fit. Made some gravy, which I put over the top. Ate that. Yum yum yum. Had a ciggy. So I'm going to have a nap at about 10 to 4. Didn't wake up until gone 7. I was like, oh, I just had an evening nap for 3 hours. Whoops. I mean, I felt better for it. I'm not going to complain. But I did want to be up here doing stuff. And because of said nap, I didn't. If I didn't need it, my body wouldn't have done it. If I'd have only needed like half hour, that's all I would have slept. Have I been dribbling in there? Probably. Right, what's next? J again. Yeah. So hopefully, anyway, with the weather improving this week and me having a little heater up here, it'll be nice and warm. This is already up to, it's already gone up 3 degrees. Dope. That's an extra. Yeah, then hopefully I'll get this diamond painting done and that paint by numbers done this week with a bit of luck. If I've got the motivation and willpower. And I think the next diamond painting across the bench will probably be the last one I'm doing for a Crimble Prezi, which will be of a certain white and blue cat. White and blue, white and black cat. And then, as I say, I'm clear to do whatever the smeg I like for the rest of the year. So, don't know, might break out one of the big ones, one of the 40x70s. I think they're all in rounds. Might do one of the naughty ones actually. So this, the previous one weren't too bright. So this one's a fairly light one, and obviously the one of Zach will be pretty light in colour. So I might want to do something a bit darker afterwards. I might actually clear out the smaller ones that are in the portfolio because they'll get done quicker and make more space. I've already got 2 more to go in there. I think I've got space for 1. Whoops. Although weirdly for me, they are both safe for work. There's nothing actually on show. Mind you, I say this one's safe for work, but it's rather cleavagey. Actually, I think we might do that. We'll get this colour done. And I'll see how much space I've got in the doofer. If I've got a couple of spaces in the portfolio, then I'll get those 2 put away and labelled up. Oh, fire in the hole. Oh. Well, at least then they're put away and the canvases will have a chance to flatten themselves out. Just in case I decide to do Japanese lady in a lacy dress or big booby goth girl in, I think it's a bra, it might be a strapless corset, I can't remember. Both AI generated images. It's one of those things, if I've got 5-10 minutes or 50, whatever, or let's say I've got a documentary on YouTube and audio wise it's keeping my attention, but video wise not really, which is, yeah, fair enough because it's a documentary. It's not necessarily going to be all that interesting to watch. Yeah, then I'll grab the tablet and generate a few images. It's something to do. I would like to get this row done. I've also got this row done. So I'm doing rows of 10, and I'll be turning around and starting from the top and working down. And I'll get to a certain point where that distance is shorter than that distance and start working upwards again. I think there's one there. Yes. Something I've got quite a few pictures that I would like to get made up into diamond paintings, or possibly paint by numbers, probably diamond paintings. I'm being quite strict with myself on I can only have the ones that fit in the portfolio. So it's a case of clearing more space before I can do more or order more. Which is kind of a bit frustrating, but there we go. Oh, yes, yeah, we'll get them done. There aren't many of those. A bit more than that, right. So yeah, I think there's a couple of 30 by 30s still in the portfolio, so might just get those done first because they'll be fairly rapid. And I think they're both rounds as well, so even more rapid. Oh yeah, that's brain fart. Going too far. Not to worry. So yeah, get those done, clear a couple of spaces. And then I might just be able to put white ones I've got. And if I'm going to order some, I'm going to be ordering 4 or 5, a decent quantity. Especially now I'm not going to order anything for Christmas or birthdays or anything. Because what I have been doing is ordering, stuff as I think of it for those reasons. Go, oh yeah, one of them, or some of those, or this, that, the other, whatever. And then topping up to the minimum order value with diamond paintings. Which admittedly does mean it takes quite a lot longer for the delivery to get there. Although the last one was pretty quick, I've got to admit. It was less than 2 weeks, so you can't grumble. You know. People going 2 weeks for a delivery. Well, yeah, something custom made from the other side of the planet. Yeah. And if you can hear those weird clicking noises, that's just the heater clicking in and out. It's thermostatically controlled. So when it gets to whatever temperature I've set it at randomly, which is about halfway, it turns itself off. Right. Ooh. That'll do. That'll do, Gromit. Right. So pop that back over. We'll grab the portfolio, not cornfolio, portfolio. Oh, jeez, that's getting heavy. Yeah, this is a little bit full. I'll put it down here. Just to save me getting in trouble for anyone seeing anything that's probably against YouTube's terms and conditions. So we've got 130 by 30, which has got a lot of black in it. 230 by 30s that have both got a lot of black in them. And they should be fairly easy to do. Other than that, have I actually got any space in here? Good question. One. Oh, we've got 330 to 30s. Right, so we've got room for one. Which one do we open up first? Which am I most likely to do? Neither of them. So we'll leave those packaged up until we've cleared another space. And once we've got another space, we'll put those away. Then we'll be full. Then I'm going to have to wait. Oh dear. Unless I just go with the flow and order a bunch anyway. Oh, still got 10 minutes, might as well do a bit more. So what we're looking at. 4. Yeah, pause. Look at there. So yeah, I basically have no room for any more. I don't really want to go buying another portfolio just to store more in. Well, that might have to be done. Then I could set it up so I have one that's got the safe for work ones in and one that's got the not safe for work ones in. That might be a good idea. What do you reckon? Should Sharpe get another portfolio purely so he can buy more diamond paintings to put in it? Just so he can say, oh no, actually this one's for the safe for work ones, this one's for the naughty ones. And how long do we think it would take before that is filled again? I don't think it'd take too long, to be honest. Especially given the amount of credit I'm getting. Ooh, Sounds like neighbour's home from his weekend away. So yes, I've had a quiet week. Just Swift, don't know what flower it is, super strong. I shouldn't be driving. No, you shouldn't be driving. Because I put driving while stoned the same as driving while drunk. Yeah, my view is the same for both. Just don't. Sitting in line at the phone. This is the thing. A drive-through pharmacy. Basically a drive-through drug shop. And that just sounds normal. Oh God. Well, yeah, the chemist or the pharmacy or pharmacist. There is technically a difference. A pharmacy doesn't have to have a qualified chemist at it, I think is the main difference. So a pharmacy would just be basically a shop, a store that you go in to buy the stuff. A chemist, you'll actually be able to ask and receive medical advice. And not based on which. You go down to the apothecary. Now that's Space Marines. And our medical advice is impartial because they don't get paid by the drug companies. And chances are they wouldn't recommend you the one that's got the name on it either. I go, well, there's this which we can charge you £10 for, or there's this one which we can charge you 75p for, which is exactly the same active ingredients. It just doesn't have the fancy packaging or the name. And you go, yeah, I'll have that one then. Yeah. What was it? Last time I had a nasty cold, which was quite a while ago, probably this time last year, I think. I went out, not to the chemist or pharmacist, I just went to the closest supermarket, which is like 2 minutes walk away. And looking on the shelf, they got the Sudafed there. And I was like, right, well, people say good things about Sudafed. So I picked it up, I looked at the back of the packet, read what the actual ingredients were. Then I picked up the own brand one right next to it on the shelf. Looked at the back. Not only was it the same chemicals, the same active ingredients, as it were, there were more of them, and it was about a fifth of the price. like, right, so it's the same thing but better for less. Bit of a no-brainer, really. Again, people see the advert, recognise the brand name, and they buy that. They don't stop and think about it or anything like that. It's like the bio-based super glue, which people want because it's bio. Therefore, it's better. It's environmentally friendly. And no, it just means instead of using cyanide, just made in a lab, they're just using the cyanide out of almonds. That's the only difference. Chemically, it is identical product, but it's bio. It's not any better for the environment. The amount you're using is not going to make any sodding difference, especially not considering it's like, literally 10 times the price for exactly the same product at the end of the day. And people look at you like you're some kind of genius for figuring this out, and you're like, well, no, it's just cyanoacrylate. It's the same thing. But did you not pay any attention in chemistry in high school? The only real difference in any superglues is the thickness of them. Whether you want a thick, gloopy gel one that just stays where you put it, but then you get all sorts of squeeze out in the joints. Or do you want a nice, super thin, super fast setting one that, if you apply it properly, doesn't leave any mess and sets in like 5 seconds? It all depends on the job you're doing and what you want it for. But it's still chemically the same. It's like the whole, but it's water-based paint. It's safe. Read the cost status sheet. All those things that end with HOL, they're alcohols. And most of them are benzene-based alcohols, so they really aren't safe to inhale or put in your body. But it's water-based. But it's acrylic. Yeah, acrylic doesn't mean water-based. It just means that the pigments and binders are acrylic. Could be as synthetic as hell. But anyway, that's enough of me ranting and raving about chemicals and why things are the same. So, yeah, my time is up. So, thank everyone for being here. Hope you've enjoyed me rambling and waffling on like usual. book applicator tips and backbone stick glue. Right, shall we use? Yeah, I just use. I mean, admittedly, I've got Yahoo at the moment. Well, that's because that was what was available. But aside from that, generic, no-name super glues, both of which cost me less than that one tube of Yoo-Hoo. Love you too, Sammy boy. Yeah. And you have a great week, Mikey. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe. Have fun. Peace out. Rock on. Bye-bye. Ooh.